put on a lot of lean size over the past year and a half. All my weak points came up and my strong points got even stronger. Kicking it right off, bro, the number one thing that helped me with that was I just dumbed down a lot of my process, meaning I made what was more complicated simple. What does that look like specifically? Well, you take your progression, how you get better, your exercise selection, and you just dumb it down, for lack of a better term. I think especially as you start to get more advanced in your training, you fall into the trap of making things more complicated than they need to be. What's simple is easy to repeat and easy to excel at because you don't have to think about it before you do it. You just have a plan and you execute it. 9 times out of 10, bro, I train at home now on my bells of steel equipment. There's less machines, there's less options, there's less confounding variables. My exercise selection is laser targeted to do what I need it to do. What is the number one thing that prevents people from excelling? Being able to get better at something. If you have a simple way of getting better at something, there's nothing to do but to show up, follow the plan, and make sure you execute. Double progressions, dynamic double progressions. That's all I feel someone really needs progression-wise for hypertrophy. There's a reason why, dumb meatheads succeed where the Jimmy bookworms, the guys that are obsessed with being up to date on all the scientific studies and academia fail, and they have little to no results to show for it. And that doesn't mean be a brainlet and never think about things or seek to learn more. But how many times have you watched a video that was very information heavy, had all the cool graphics on it, talked about things in the most complicated way possible, and you retained none of it? People look at you like you're a brainlet, like you don't know what you're talking about when you seek to make things simple, but it really is this simple shit that people just fuck up repeatedly. And then they blame their lack of results on these esoteric, amorphous fucking things that have nothing to do with what their real area of opportunity is. The basics. Seek to make things basic so that you can freaking do them, bro. So the second thing, muscles sometimes they don't need advanced periodization. They don't need a secret exercise. Sometimes they just need this kitchen sink approach. How you train your biceps is not necessarily how you may need to train your calves to grow. I'm tired of just listening to people talk about specifically the calves. Let's just talk about that. I don't have a script or anything, but I've put 1.5 inches on my calves over the past 1.5 years. How did I do that? I didn't do that with the 3x10, whatever the fuck. I did that by having 4 calf training days, right? I train my calves 4 times per week, 3 at the least. I have a day where I'm just oonga-boongaing up, like sloppy reps. I have a day where I'm pausing and doing Jimmy Bookworm form. I have a day where I'm doing jackrabbit reps where there's no pause. And I have another day where I'm really focused on the stretch specifically. That has allowed me to put on a lot of size on my calves. It's a kitchen sink approach. Muscles are a lot like people. You cannot treat them all the same way and connect with them. You can't connect with your muscles the same way by training them all the same way. What did I care about? What was my goal? I didn't care about anything but getting in a good workout and making sure that I was adding reps each and every week, or sets, or a little bit of weight. I kept it very simple and just attacked it in earnest from every direction. Sometimes the calves might require that. You may not be able to just grow by 3 sets of 10 to failure. That's a good starting point, and effort is the base, but sometimes, bro, you need to take it up a little bit with intention. Same thing with my legs. My quads, my hamstrings have come up significantly over the past 1.5 years, and it was the same thing. I just beat the crap out of them, bro. And I have not forgotten that calf training video that I said I was gonna make. It's still in the works, before someone asks. The third thing is super important, bro, and honestly, this is the thing that you wanna listen to because it's counterculture to everything in the fitness industry that is showy and all about novelty. It's all about the shreds. You have to be willing to put that aside. Not only put that aside, but be willing to lose it to gain mass. And ironically, when you go about things the right way, you maintain some degree of leanness. You get bigger and you get stronger. You're never going to be able to put yourself in a position to gain weight if you're always worried about, oh, am I gonna lose my abs? Oh, I have to make sure that I'm eating this amount so that I don't lose my abs, so that I don't do this. The ab anxiety is that you have to set that aside. You have to be willing to envision yourself not only gaining weight, but potentially losing your 6-pack maybe. That will allow you to put yourself in a position where you're eating to support your training and you're able to train hard enough to actually put on some freaking muscle. My lowest weigh-in at sub 10% body fat, depleted, miserable, was 168 pounds. Keep that in mind. I was already strong enough and big enough at that point to Larson press close to 4 plates. How light are you going to be at sub 10% body fat, trying to maintain that leanness, trying not to move away from it? 130 pounds, 120 pounds, you're going to need to get a lot lighter than you think you are as an adult male to get the type of visual effect that you're looking for in terms of that leanness, or that you think you want to have. When you're willing to put yourself in a mental space to walk away from that while also following a good process. I'm not telling you to gigabulk. I'm not telling you to give 0 fucks about your diet. I'm telling you that you need to be comfortable with being a bigger version of yourself. You have to visualize that, which is gonna key into our next point actually. This next one is esoteric, and that's why it might come across as stupid to somebody, because it's not something that you read in a book. It's not something that you get unless you live it. You gotta live it, right? You have to learn how to truly visualize and take that vision and translate it into reality. And it just sounds esoteric, like I said, but let me tell you a story. The other day, a buddy of mine just asked me about the weather or something. He was like, bro, you tired of the weather here? It's cold, da da da. I said, look, man, what I'm tired of is not having 20-inch arms. What I'm tired of is not having 30-inch thighs. That's what I'm tired of. Now, that is the stupidest fucking response that you can give to somebody that is just asking you what the weather is. But I am so focused on the goal of having 20-inch arms that I didn't even think about what I said before I said it, to be honest with you. And that's just a funny way of saying that, like, look, man, you have to think about your goals in earnest and visualize yourself attaining them. I'll tell you what, after I said that, we had the most mutant natty training talk about arms that I have had in a long time. I got in a sick workout after that, and the pump was crazy. Now, did that workout in of itself give me 20-inch arms? Absolutely not. But I'm going to get better results visualizing that goal and training as if my soul depended upon getting 20-inch arms like Broly from Dragon Ball Z, as if my life depended on it. It's a 3-step process, bro. So you gotta visualize your goal. You have to be passionate about it, give a crap about it, and then you attack that goal. In my opinion, and again, this is more esoteric, so you can feel free to say, this is bro science, that doesn't mean anything. But there's a big difference between visualizing yourself succeeding and then just trying not to suck. The effort is there on both ends, but one intentionally is far superior to the other, in my opinion. So look back to early 2022. We had all these bookworms, these fucking dorks telling us that wide grip pull downs and pull-ups are not a lat exercise and that they're an upper back exercise. And people took that and ran with it. Me, I lashed out in rage against that. I did all wide grip pull-ups. I did freaking barbell rows. Real biomechanists came out and actually analyzed the wide grip pull-up, and it turned out that it's a ton of lats. No duh, all right? I didn't need a scientific study to confirm that. I'm not one of those people that needs to appeal to the authority of something like that, because I can observe with my own eyes that a wide grip pull-up works the lats. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Franco Columbu, they told us that shit 40 years ago. Wide grip is amazing for lats. They told us that 40 years ago, and we just regarded it as bro science because it wasn't proven in a lab yet. Now, I'm not saying don't think about what you're doing. Don't think about the reason why you're doing something or what the benefits of the exercise are. But if you can see in real time, you look in a room, 8 out of the 10 of the fellas with jacked backs are doing wide grip pull-ups, barbell rows, and then the 2 fellas that are not jacked at all are doing these dainty one-arm pull-arounds. What are you going to do? Do you have any proof that the jacked and stacked guys are big because of the pull-ups? No, but if it looks like a duck, it walks like a duck, and sounds like a duck, it's a fucking duck, bro. So thing number 6 is somewhat related to what we just talked about. You talk to people that are in the gym, getting after it, that are just like you, that may be a little better than you in some portions, or maybe they have an approach that you really like. So for example, I have this series called These Exercises Build the Most Muscle. I wish I did them sooner. And it was really just a way at first for me to talk to you about some bread and butter basics, to say, hey bro, you know, regardless of where you're at in your training, you try this and you'll get good results from it, and then you can evolve from there. And it is transformed into that conversation between you and I, that you walk up to some guy at the gym that's jacked and you see him doing something that you've never seen before, and he can talk to you about why it works and how it's gotten him good results. Some of the coolest things that I have incorporated into my training have just been as the result of those meathead conversations that I had with fellas in the gym, or with my colleagues, Alex, Jeffrey, natural hypertrophy. I talk to these fellas all the time about training. We exchange information. Everybody started Larson pressing because of me, and I started Larson pressing because of Freaky D. And those are meathead conversations that we've just had. Bro, I would have never thought to just lift your freaking feet off the ground on bench press and it makes it into the best bench exercise known to man. I would have never known that without talking to Dennis about it. So the last thing that I learned, implemented, and truly mastered is knowing how to get a better workout out of the basics. This came as a result of my necessity of needing to do this because I restricted myself to training at home mostly with my bells of steel stuff. I had to learn how to adjust the way that I did things to add variation to my training when I needed. There's a fella at your gym right now, or maybe there isn't, but you can imagine a guy, 250-pound horse of a man, lean, jacked, that can get a better back workout with simply barbell rows than you can with a dainty iliac cable pull around. And that's because he knows how to manipulate his grip width, where he pulls to work the muscles the way that he wants to. Much the same, I have learned that applying skill to your movements can just transform the way that something interacts with your body. This is beyond like the basic, make sure you have an eccentric, make sure that your form isn't complete shit. You better be doing that. That is just a necessity of you getting big or strong. Your form cannot be shit. If you pile shit on top of shit, what are you gonna have but a mountain of crap? I'm talking about taking basic things and with skill, elevating them to a new level. So take, for example, my ring push-ups. I can manipulate how much tension there is on my chest and shoulders, what kind of training effect I get, whether I bias upper chest or middle chest or lower chest, based after where I push from, how wide I go, if I turn the rings out. I have 3 different days where I do ring push-ups and every single day has a different training effect. With my RDLs, I can manipulate the way that my posterior chain interacts with the movement. I get better hamstring stimulus, better glute stimulus, better lower back stimulus by taking a wider grip, by letting the bar drift in front of me like Ed Cohn used to talk about, again, like 30 years ago. You let the bar drift in front of you on your hip hinges and it stretches your hamstrings out more and gives you a better glute stimulus. I pause at the bottom to make sure that my back is receiving an enormous stress. I only have to work out with like 4 plates on RDLs for reps, bro. If I use the form that would allow me to lift the most amount of weight, I have to use 5 plates. You take hammer curls, which is like a hit or miss exercise for some people. Some people love them, some people don't. You make it super strict and make it work your brachialis harder, work your forearms harder, work even your biceps harder, which is traditionally like mid on hammer curls, admittedly. You put up on an incline like John Meadows used to talk about, bro, suddenly you have an exercise that works all of those things 1,000 times harder. Skill is what you should seek to elevate the basics. You can always learn how to interact with your exercises better. And that's like something completely alien in the fitness industry, honestly. It's all about novelty. It's all about this new exercise will fulfill this function that you want to look for, as opposed to just adjusting the way that you do basic shit. I just talked about 3 different things: a calisthenics exercise, a barbell exercise, and a dumbbell exercise, and how I elevated them to make them work on a more advanced level. None of those things require special equipment at all. That's all she wrote, fellas. I plan on bulking probably indefinitely, bro. I have no reason to stop. I'm following a good process. I feel like I'm just getting started. I've put on all this weight, all this size and strength, but I feel like I'm just getting started. I'm still lean and there's no reason for me to stop. Let this be inspiration to like fire you up. At someone that does all of the simple things right, they get this type of results. Now, we all have different genetics, but that is, again, this amorphous thing that doesn't mean anything to you. If you follow a good process, you will get these type of results in some capacity. Having abs when you bulk is not this thing that is impossible to have. Putting on all this weight in a year, honestly, bro, I know people that have put on more weight than I have this year. That's all she wrote, fellas. I'm fired up and caffeinated, and I need to go get some food. If you have any questions about what my next plans are in my bulk or whatever, go ahead and drop them down below. I'll see y'all in the next one. Watch these videos now that you watched this one. See you later.